I freaking loved it. It was. I'm not gonna say it was better than I expected, but it was what I hoped for. It was what I hoped for the most. Would I have wanted to see it be a little bit bigger and impacting multiple things? As I watch it now, I'm kind of glad that it didn't hit as heavy as it was initially trying to, and it kind of was more self-contained. And the more that I think about it, the more I really am happy that it was more self-contained, because
I agree.
It hit like the horror elements the way that I'd want it, in as family a friendly way as they possibly could. Like, they were utilizing their PG-13, then they got their 3 cuss words in, which were very well timed. But like, I love what they did with one. I don't like. I get everybody has opinions, but I don't fully understand people's reasons for disliking the movie, outside of not liking Sam Raimi.
Yeah, it is really. That seems to be a really big thing. People who love Sam Raimi love this movie.
Yeah,
I'm not sure if it works.
Super Sam Raimi. If I'd never seen Walking Dead, not Walking Dead.
Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. I would not have realized how Sam Raimi it was. But having watched them, I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh,
you really put your whole hand. There's no denying. Like, the only other person I think could put a marker that heavy would be dude who made the Batman, the Dark Knight series.
Christopher Nolan. Well, in regards to the MCU, though, it is definitely of all the people who've directed, there's been a ton. It's definitely got the strongest fingerprint of the director on it. It's definitely it's hard to look at the other movies and say
more than Laika.
More than
what?
More than Taika.
No, you're right.
Yeah, that's
fair
enough.
You're right.
Taika and Sami and Raimi.
But
yeah.
I think Taika, because of the fact that most people had no idea what he was before Thor Ragnarok. I can say that with full honesty. Outside of a specific region, that New Zealand, that Oceania region, I don't
the
feel
arse end of the world.
Yeah, I don't feel like people
Just say it, okay? Just say it. It's the arse end of the world. I can put up with your racism.
But outside of that, I don't feel like people knew Taika until Thor Ragnarok, and then you kind of saw it spread out over time. But with Raimi, you had history that goes with it. So I'm gonna put his impact a little bit higher, simply because he was able to recreate versus Taika's was to reveal.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crackerjack movie. Like, I had a smile on my face pretty much the whole time. Particularly when I knew that my prediction of Wanda going badass, not just anti-hero, but going full
unforgivably evil.
She cut Captain Britain in half. Like,
I love it.
That was
I'm more traumatized by Black Bolt's death.
Yo, that was the one that surprised me the most. I was like, yo, did they really just explode this dude's brain?
They did.
Yo,
they did. She was.
This is such a fan service movie.
But that's what it should be. Like, it is and it isn't. Because at the same time, it's a tester to continue to show that, one, I considered it was the biggest FU to previous executives and other former pre-MCU comic book movie makers, that you can't use comic book accurate costuming and actions to be presented in live action. Like, this was the ultimate FU to that.
Yeah.
Like,
F you Fox, F you Sony.
Hey, speaking of Fox, I will set this on a different podcast, but I was like, look, the MCU has made a variant of basically all the other properties from other from the other studios,
Comic book movies. Yeah.
except for Fox. They have done nothing that has been even mimicry to Fox. The only time that they even remotely did it, they made a boner joke out of it. The lack of respect that Disney has for Fox properties is amazing. Except for clearly Deadpool will be the one exclusive, and I don't think they considered a Fox property. They considered a Ryan Reynolds property that Fox distributed. But nothing.
The game is afoot.
The Fantastic Four, nothing. X-Men, nothing. Because the X-Men that they used was from the animated series and the comics, not from the movie.
Oh, take that, Fox. Take that, Fox.
Disrespect. They couldn't even bring a Ben Affleck Daredevil into it. Like,
oh God, no.
They said they're so disrespectful of Fox, and I love it. I love it so much. They even gave us a Reed Richards that I can believe, and I'm so glad they telling you. We know this now for fact.
But he's dead. He's gone.
No.
They brought him on for 2 minutes and killed him. He's dead. No more Krasinski.
Which was still awesome. She spaghettied him and blew his brain up.
She was bad, wasn't she? She was bad. I will say that does kind of link into. So there are considerable problems with the movie, like the continuity and all kinds of things. One of them is that she kind of did a Thanos in that she slaughters everybody else, but there are at least one or two occasions I thought, here's your chance to kill Doctor Strange. Just kill Doctor Strange. And she doesn't. It's she throws him away or something like that. That little kind of, like Thanos did in Infinity War. I could kill you all, but I'm not going to because you're supposed to be in the movie longer. Kind of.
But her motivation was never about killing Doctor Strange. Her motivation was get me to my kids.
Neither was it to kill but she killed a lot of people who got in her way. And no one was more in her way than Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was Mr. I'm in the way of your children.
That's right.
But for what it's worth, everybody else there was nothing personal with them. They were literally throwaways that she could murder. She literally had no purpose in her life.
Too.
Strange was at least
she had a relationship with Strange.
What relationship? What relationship was it?
Enough of a relationship where she was willing to kill everybody.
Tell me where that relation. What relationship? Because this is the first time they've actually talked to each other in the whole MCU.
No,
they talk to each other.
They talked to each other in Endgame. Whenever that was Vision.
They've never talked. I thought about this. They've never talked. They have no previous relationship.
Here's the thing. They come from the same universe, and they were in the forest scene where Doctor Strange, I could get you back on the lunchbox. We might have not seen it, but they probably have.
And it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. If we haven't seen it, it doesn't exist. Right? They had no previous relationship. She should have dispensed with him. Look what she did to everybody else. She just sliced and diced. And so there are a couple occasions where she could have. This doesn't ruin the movie, but I'm saying there's several occasions she should have just gone, bling, and she. The other thing is that, so there's a couple, it's that kind of let's change her powers for the story, right? It's that whole thing. So she just destroys the whole Illuminati, and then she's running down the hallway to chase them. Why is she running down the hallway? She could blow those, she's done crazy stuff. We just saw her do incredible stuff. I'm not saying, but here's the thing, there's a couple other things. The other thing was Wong taking her to that temple.
I was kind of a bitch, dude. I'm not. I was like, you're not gonna fight. He was like, yo, you literally thought the mountain was going to be enough to stop her. You can't go any further. My bad. Okay, I'm gonna fly up.
And I thought that the machine on the side of the road that showed people's memories, and the fact that the both of them on the side of the road, one of them they both kind of just stand there and let their whole backstory fly out there on the public space. But here's the thing. It didn't matter, right? It didn't matter because this was fun, right? This was just, we were just on this roller coaster ride. And you saw it happen, and I thought, who cares? Like, he's a zombie now. Who cares? He's a zombie now.
But this is the problem. Whenever you have this is why I'm actually glad. In retrospect, I'm glad that it shows it, because this is the problem that people who read the comics and always are like, oh, the characters are so different from what the comics are. Because when you have a person who is literally OP. Like they're so overpowered. Yeah. You cannot write barriers for them.
Yeah. It's really hard.
No good way to be able to do it.
No, and that's why they've got to run down hallways, and she's got to kind of
Also, maybe Wanda wanted to be a hunter. She was in predator mode. She was like, I don't want to blow up everything and kill America. Which every time I said it, I feel like, I know that's her name in the comics, but I also feel like this is the most exactly like I was like America's got to save us. America will come. But like America.
So here's the question. I mean, I think they've had several before, but Chavez is clearly the most Latina of all the new. Is it being embraced down there? Is she being down there in South America?
I don't think. I mean, this is Brazil, so what they have for Mexico completely differs from.
Yeah, right.
It's they're neighbors, but it's not the same thing by any means. So as far as it's concerned, the only Brazilian. No, there hasn't been any. Has there been a Brazilian? No. There's been one. There's one that might be coming, but there hasn't been a Brazilian. So down here, it doesn't have. They just love Marvel. Also, speaking of the Latino thing. Someone, I don't remember where I saw this, but it was so accurate. One of the Latino powered person literally had the power to cross borders.
There we go. How come no one else has said that until now? How come I haven't heard that?
No, I saw that and I was like, I am dying,
That is great. There you go. Lock her out, Trump.
Illegally go into other places. Like, y'all are wrong.
Bitches, here I am, bitches. What did you think of? What did you guys actually think of the character? I thought she was I thought she was good, but I think she was a little undercooked.
I think that was purposeful.
Right.
Yeah. I think we're really being set up for Young Avengers. That's why we don't get too much of her, because we're getting a lot of her once Kamala Khan comes out, Kate Bishop comes in, Kid Loki comes in, the twins.
But she still has to serve the story of the movie story, though. And
which I think she did enough. I mean,
I don't think it's a major weakness, but there's a bit in the movie that really the climax of the movie where Zombie Strange comes up to her. She's on the thing getting kicked out of her, and she's about to get sacrificed, and Zombie Strange comes up, and she goes, "You're right. I now realize I have to sacrifice myself," which is, of course, referring to right at the start of the movie where he's. And I thought, when did you come to that revelation? How did you come to there wasn't any beats previous to that where I thought, oh yeah, I could see how the character arc. It just wasn't as smooth as it could have been. But I still like the character. But
I feel like the character arc in that played out in whenever they were in that utopia where they step on the thing and it brings up their thoughts and background, which that part made the least amount of sense. I'm like, don't show my privacy to all the I don't care what kind of utopia you think is happening. You need to calm down. One, there was no consent. I never said, hey, go ahead and send this. I don't trust this utopia place, man. This place is mad, it's mad suspect. But
again, once the movie's over, you're not thinking about that, are you? No, the better a movie is, 100% thinking that. The better a movie is, the more you can forgive them for stuff like that, isn't it? Like all movies have movie logic or illogic to them. Weird. It's your ability. It's how entertained you are by the movie, which descends on how much you really chew on that stuff. The classic line from Steven Spielberg when he was doing Jaws. He was filming Jaws. He's directing it, and some guy came up to him at the end. You know how Jaws dies? Spoiler, everybody, for a movie that's 40 years old. How he's got the tank in its mouth. It's got the air tank, and he shoots it. And someone walked up to him on stage, and someone walked on set and said, you know, sharks would never have something like that in their mouth for even a second, let alone sit there like he is for like 3 minutes with this thing in his mouth. And Spielberg says, after being in the cinema watching my movie for an hour and a half, they'll believe anything I tell them. Right? And that was his point is, and that's the master himself, is that if you give people a ride and everyone gets into it, they'll prepare to forgive a lot.
Facts.
There's one thing, though, one criticism, which I think I get pretty annoyed at. I'm going to stand up for the movie on this one because I can't even believe people are saying that. And I don't know what you guys think. And it's, why isn't she going for Vision? Like, why is she just going for Vision? That was the very last thing in the world I expected coming into that movie, right?
Yeah.
The very last thing that I thought mattered was Vision. That was...
Vision never, yeah. She said the Vision is dead. Vision is gone.
That's what the whole Vision is.
That was all exactly. I literally was just having this conversation on Facebook. I was like, Vision doesn't matter in this because we already accepted the grief and loss of her brother, her mother, her father, and Vision. The thing that she could not let go of was the thing she actually created, which was Tommy and what's the other one's name?
Wiccan and Speed. I just call them Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah. Wiccan and Speed. Yeah.
For Wiccan and Speed, those were progenitors. They came from her. And she wanted to get that. She literally just transferred those emotions from the acceptance of the loss to let me go find my kids. And that's why I'm like, I don't understand why people are being like, I don't understand. They killed all of Wanda's character arc. No, they completely followed through with where her character arc was going.
She was not. The thing is, when she flew away, when she flew away from the town and she said sorry, that was a pretty... sorry, but not sorry. Like that did not finish well. And the end sequence really did nail it. She moved her attention from Vision to the kids.
Exactly.
Right? She moved on. And she was now putting all the Darkhold had played was playing a real powerful role in getting her focused on those kids.
Yes.
And they have to understand mothers. They'll say, "Fuck our husbands."
Yeah,
I'm gonna save my kids.
Yes,
kids are more important than husbands.
Yes.
Well, there's a different feeling. There's a sense of guilt when a parent fails. When a child dies, however that child dies, this instantly comes with a sense of failure. That was my duty. I was supposed to look after that kid.
Right.
I was supposed to bring that kid into fruition, into their life, and I failed. So it's driven by a sense of guilt. And I'm just surprised. I'm just surprised that people who I respect a lot are carrying on about that. I thought there was a whole 9-part series.
I genuinely don't. I feel like people have been so separate because WandaVision felt like it was so long ago, even though it was the beginning of 2021. Like it's only been like a year and a half, but like it felt so long ago that people forgot what it was. They just saw the ending where she was in the town. She basically got away without any consequence, and then
sorry.
And Vision would piss on her parade. Like Vision would talk her out of it. As soon as Vision became aware of Westview, he tried to undo the whole thing.
Yeah,
and that would happen again, and that would be I thought that was super obvious that Vision would stop her from.
Also, in the other universes, it doesn't make sense for there to be a Vision like they did with 818, the 818 universe. There's no Ultron problems. Ultron never had that problem. The Ultron bots worked. So there was no Vision requirement. There's no Jarvis interface. There's no Tony Stark copy. You know,
so I think
forgetting like Vision was kind of like destroyed with the Infinity Stone.
Right.
Kind of thing. And most often than not, when you get destroyed with a stone, you're gone.
So I was I was amazed, you know, hearing all these theories about what's happened and, you know, Vision being part of 818 and disappearing or whatever. And then I just saw an interview with what's-her-face, with Elizabeth Olsen. And she just comes out and says, no, she had a normal husband back in this other universe, had normal kids, they got divorced. That's why there's no wedding ring on her finger.
Right.
And she was home. She was singing. It was like, oh, there it is. Okay. Because I've heard a zillion different theories about that universe. And I do suspect we're going to go back to that universe. I do suspect that they've opened a ton of cans of worms in that universe. I think they could easily go back to.
I mean, if we're going to start going, well, let's finish up before we start going to looking for it, because I agree and I disagree with that a little bit. But, you know, as far as character arcs are concerned, I mean, look, we know a couple things here. One, Elizabeth Olsen, we signed a new 7-movie deal. So clearly, Wanda is not dead. All right. I never even believed it to begin with because, again...
You don't think that? You think 616 Wanda is still alive?
616 Wanda is still definitely alive. Yes.
I still think she's a Nexus being.
Which I'm now super confused on the Nexus being concept because it's not... The consistency of Nexus being is not being consistent of Nexus being. The only one that seemed the most Nexus being is America Chavez because she's literally the only one that exists. And so whatever universe she's in, she never has to worry about an incursion. But other than that, I've not seen... I don't feel like they've played this Nexus element out.
I hope, to be honest, I'm not with you guys. I hope that 616 is dead. I thought she played her card, she ran her race, and I feel that I would be a little bit that's a take back as far as I'm concerned. I think she went down the way she went down, and I'm completely happy with the arc of that entire Scarlet Witch. She went down with the boots on, badass bitch. and I'm not saying that there's not another Scarlet, but I still think the 818, because there is now a Wiccan Speed in that. We know they're coming. Yeah. There's a Wiccan Speed. And let me propose this to you. There's an origin story there. We've got this woman with her children, and she's obviously got some of her powers.
She got powers. She just doesn't have the same amount because she hasn't.
All of a sudden, her brain gets taken over. Right. This woman comes into their life, freaks them out. Now, Wiccan and Speed and her have got all these questions. They've got this whole reality, this new thing they've got to deal with. And see, Wiccan and Speed doesn't exist in 616, but they do now exist in 8. Is it 818? I don't know.
818, yeah.
818. So I think there could be a potential. There's a start for those 3 characters to start investigating what happened to them. All those guys did die, didn't they? Like the whole Illuminati. No one.
The Illuminati is dead in 818. They're all dead. Like except for Mordo. Which
Mordo's there, and so is Christine.
And Christine and Mordo are still alive there.
You know, we're still gonna have Secret Wars, and we'll probably.
Is that we're still gonna have? This is literally all culminating together for Secret Wars. It's so clear. I guess we're gonna move forward. Go ahead, JP.
Yeah, and I kind of think like what I keep saying before, like we're gonna have multiverse, and then they'll eventually tie everything together, like
that. I mean, and which is what the Kang concept was. That's what He Who Remains said. That exact same thing. We're about to just repeat the whole thing all over again.
Let's remind our friends to please click on the subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when we have new videos out.
Subscribe!
Die! Die! Oh, die!